The Transformers franchise is in my blood. I grew up watching my dad, Walrus Sr., collect Transformers. He was obsessed with the franchise, which made every Father's Day an easy gift and memorable. Another figure for the shelf. His passion explains my own deep connection with the Transformers franchise and my love for the unique toy designs. I remember sinking hours into the Fall of Cybertron multiplayer as a kid, and even then, I thought about going all in as a full-on collector. The closest I came was during the release of the Haslab Unicron. Villains, giant beings, Titan-like characters, those have always been my favorites, and Unicron checked every box. So today let's delve into the success of the Unicron Haslab, along with the hurdles, controversies, and missteps it faced along the way. This Haslab was a massive figure, 27 inches tall in robot mode and 30 inches wide in planet mode. It weighed over 16 pounds, with its stand and retailed at a hefty $575 plus tax. It was a true centerpiece for collectors. It had more than 50 points of articulation and included opposable eyes, mouth, and even teeth. Its two display stands were meant to support its transformations, and 22 screw hole plugs for a cleaner look. Tiny Galvatron and Hot Rod figures were included with an Autobot shuttle. On paper, it was a dream figure, carefully engineered, highly detailed, and unlike anything Hasbro had ever attempted. But for all of its ambition, it wasn't perfect. The steep price tag of $575 made it a target for warranted scrutiny. Fans constantly weighed whether the features justified the cost. The planet form was generally praised, round, imposing, and true to Unicron's legacy. Still, even with praise for its planet mode, Hasbro made some questionable changes that would later spark debate once production models began to roll out. The project's funding period faced multiple hurdles, with one I can personally relate to being the size concern. This figure was massive, which was one of the main appeals of it. The planet rings demanded even more space for optimal display. To some collectors, there was the additional cost of display space. For non-dust collectors like myself who invest in proper displays, you're looking at a case that probably costs as much as the figure itself. For collectors who really didn't care, they still had to push a lot of figures around to get this thing to fit somewhere. That can be a deal breaker for some. Others were turned off by the kibble and shell forming in the back and ankle area, which made the figure look like it had cankles and a backpack. Just had a really big turtle shell once you transformed it, which some fans hoped would be less noticeable. Fans who already had these concerns were now worried if Hasbro would actually deliver on the promised quality. This Haslab, unlike the sail barge, lacked the first of its kind hype. There were already smaller scaled Unicrons, so this was truly just for fans who wanted that centerpiece item or that giant figure. So it's easy to see why backers rose slowly and the campaign lagged as the deadline approached. But Hasbro responded to this by doing something unprecedented, and I commend them for it. Even if it was partly because they had already overcommitted resources, they extended the funding period, a practice I feel other Haslabs like the failed Rancor could have benefited from. At the time of the extension, the Haslab sat at around 5,000 backers. That was after they added international resellers like Takara Tomy, which boosted it up from its original 3,300. Without intervention, the project looked like it would have failed. By extending the deadline to October 6, 2019, Hasbro gave Unicron a chance to be showcased at New York Comic Con, while also opening up the UK and EU markets through Kapow Toys. This showed Hasbro was actively taking steps to get the campaign funded, and it felt like they weren't just trying to line their pockets, they were trying to get this dream project into the hands of as many loyal fans as possible. And it worked. The project funded with over 11,000 backers, surpassing the 8,000 goal, an impressive achievement given the steep cost. But Unicron's story doesn't end there, because this is Hasbro we're talking about. The head and face design really highlighted Hasbro's mixed execution once Unicron finally shipped to backers. There were some brilliant touches, swappable faceplates, intricate inner details, and a collapsible jaw with spring-loaded teeth, all features Hasbro promoted heavily. But then came the missteps, and they were glaring. The tongue color was inaccurate, the bottom teeth lacked paint, and certain shortcuts gave the impression Hasbro was cutting corners. And after going through a rocky funding process, the last thing you want to do is change what was already advertised. And maybe fans could have overlooked the head situation, but these cost-cutting measures also affected the perfect planet form originally showcased. Unicron featured a screen-accurate yellow maw, but in the final production model, for some reason Hasbro swapped this for a molded blue part. This change completely altered the look and accuracy of the figure. Fans were baffled. It clearly wasn't an oversight. The San Diego Comic-Con prototype proved Hasbro knew the right color, so I don't understand why it would be switched last minute, especially for a part that is so glaring. It's in the middle of the entire figure. The fans of the project shouldn't have to scramble together aftermarket fixes or 3D printed replacements to get the figure they were promised, yet that's exactly what happened. Still, I admire the community's determination, the way collectors united to design swap outs, repaints, and upgrade kits, all in the pursuit of creating the perfect display for this dream project. There was also a small section of fans who wished the Haslab Unicron came with a premium collector box, like many Haslab projects do today, but at the time it wasn't included. Many collectors, myself included, agreed that adding one would only give Hasbro another excuse to raise the price. And with an already expensive figure, the last thing anyone wanted was more markup for packaging. And to highlight these missteps came the Studio Cell Unicron. This version was smaller, cheaper, and had a cleaner look. It had a sleek robot silhouette, could stand on its own without the need for a permanent display stand, and most importantly was accurate. It featured the proper colored maw instead of Haslab's infamous blue one. Another thing the Studio Cell version had was it could be purchased multiple times thanks to reissues and even color variants, making it more accessible to collectors who missed out for the first time. It didn't have the same overwhelming centerpiece presence as Haslab's Unicron, but the sheer size will always be Hasbro's trump card. But in nearly every other aspect, Studio Cell offered an amazing alternative that many fans still consider the definitive choice. While it had its flaws and missteps, and while I still feel Hasbro should never have changed or misrepresented details to backers, I think the Unicron Haslab remains a deserved success. It was clearly made with passion, with fans in mind. Maybe higher-ups wanted to save money when the painting bill came in. Maybe the designers could have spent a little more time solving the shelf forming issue, but regardless, the result is a figure that will always be an eye-catcher in any display. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. This channel being monetized is all thanks to you, and I truly appreciate the support. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, be sure to join the Discord link down in the description below, or consider joining the channel and you'll get these emojis and a custom loyalty badge. Can't wait for some of you to join the Toy Cantina, and I'll see you guys in the next toy breakdown.